Hi, Tom Mumford here, Triaxis. I'm sitting with Bill Bodei, Senior Director at Kaminario, and he was kind enough to take me through some of the technical differentiation of the K2 offering they have, the fastest storage on the planet. And I thought I'd just take you a couple minutes of your time and ask Bill a couple of questions. Bill, can you, kind of my takeaway from this was a little bit was if you could expand a little bit on the significant difference between scale out and scale up.
Perfect. So the difference really, Tom, is that when you scale up, you are adding capacity and devices behind a limited number of I/O controllers. So it could be a single or dual pair of controllers, in some cases perhaps 4 or 6 or 8, but at the end of the day you are finite in your ability to scale I/O performance. Compare that to scale out, where you actually add I/O performance each and every time you add capacity. So the net is, do you want to dilute your performance over time, or do you want to continue to add performance and get truly linear scale when you do?
Okay, well then wouldn't the block size make a difference? Because I know that your controllers handle variable block sizes where a lot of the other ones are a fixed block size. So
Excellent point. So when you have a variable block size, like Kaminario does, as opposed to servicing an I/O based on what we want, we work with the applications. Most common I/O sizes are much bigger than the 4K block size that many of our competitors reference with their benchmark references. It's also something that when we get an I/O, for example, in a 32K I/O size, which is very common for Oracle, or an 8K I/O size, which is common for SQL, our competitors that operate in a 4K block size will have to do 2, 4, 6, or 8 times as many I/O operations as we would do. So it becomes intuitive then that when your max throughput is a calculation of max IOPS times your latency, okay, we're inherently going to be faster and scale better over time because we can operate in the granularity that the application wants us to.
I want to ask you one other question, because this is the kind of discussion that I will often have with people like you that are watching this across the table, and it always seems to get into IOPS. And Bob, you had an interesting way of discussing what IOPS represent versus latency, and I'd like you to just touch on that in closing.
Yeah, great point. So latency is really the key measurement for any storage performance with respect to how the application is going to perceive it. IOPS can be viewed as the number of cars on the racetrack at a given time.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, whereas latency is the amount of time a particular car would take to get around the track, or its last lap time. So if you think about the measurement that a NASCAR fan would be concerned with, they wouldn't be concerned if Jeff Gordon has 5 or 10 or 20 other people on the track. They care about how fast is Jeff going around the track at one given time, and that's really the key measure that applications are measured by in terms of their ability to perform.
Excellent, excellent. I thought that was well illustrated. And by the way, if you're a NASCAR fan, I know that there's a lot of discussion back and forth about whether Jeff Gordon's the best. I'm not sure who is, but I'm not going to get into that argument. Bill, thank you for the time.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Tom.
it.
Okay.
Thanks for stopping by.